and welcome to Fearless DIY Music. My name is Tristan Lass, and today we're here to talk about this sparkly goodness that I have in my lap right here. If anyone who's watching this has seen the Project Guitar Disaster video or the Preparing a Body for Finish videos, you're familiar with this instrument. For everybody else who's watching, this is a guitar project that I finally have reached the final iteration of. At least I hope so. And this particular instrument started life as an Epiphone starter pack Explorer, the kind that you would buy for a kid for their birthday or as a Christmas present. Super cheap. I got it for next to nothing. And the idea when I first acquired the instrument was that, okay, I'm going to turn this into a full-sized Explorer because, it's just so cheap. Most of the work is already done as far as, the basic body shape is there. I'll just extend the back of it and then turn it into a full-sized Explorer, which I did. And I did a terrible job of it. It was a Frankenstein mess of wood grafts, and I put laminate over the top. I put wood veneer over the top of it to try to hide all my sins. And I bolted. I had this Dean neck laying around, the shrimp fork headstock neck that I love, and it's a great neck. And I was like, okay, I'll expand it out to a 25.5-inch scale on a Gibson body. I did this massive, like I said, wood graft on the back of it, and I had this giant monstrosity of an Explorer. What I did not anticipate was that since it was a mini Explorer, that this bottom horn and this upper horn would look odd when the body was fully extended out, and it certainly did, and it was uncomfortable to play. I had very convoluted electronics in it, and it just ended up sitting on the wall, and then eventually it moved from the wall to just kind of being shoved in a corner where I never played it, and I was upset with myself perpetually at having shanked the job, basically just doing a terrible job on this particular project. So I reshaped the body to what we see now. I sanded it all down to wood, and then I have refinished it. I think I said that I was going to do it in gold, and I was. But I decided to go with a silver sparkle finish on it, which has turned out fantastic in my estimation. I'm very happy with it. I used just your rattle can glitter spray paint that you would get at the craft store or the hardware store. And then I applied 5 coats of crystal clear polyurethane over the top of it to make sure that I don't have glitter everywhere when I'm playing the guitar. So it is well sealed. It does have, even though it's very sparkly, it's a matte finish on this guitar because the glitter paint as it goes on itself levels, but it also has a little texture to it. So you can still, kind of feel a little of that texture, but it is coated and sealed with a lot of clear polyurethane. Like I said, the crystal clear Minwax is what I used on it, which worked out really well. So now that we're at the final iteration, we'll go ahead and kind of talk about what this guitar has going on. So, as I said before, this is like a late 90s, early 2000s Dean neck that I just had laying around the shop. It had been given to me in trade. These are Ping tuners that I also had laying around the shop. And I should also say, just for full disclosure, this guitar is very much an exercise in using what is at hand. So I used parts that were left over from other projects or other guitars or instruments that had been, gifted to me or left in the shop as a form of payment. So these are some Ping tuners. They're perfectly good. They're great tuners. So we got the Ping tuners. This is just a kind of a Graphtec style nut on here. This was original with the Dean neck. The neck is perfectly straight, fully adjustable. I did polish the frets. I went ahead and taped up the fretboard and did another polish on them just since I had gone this far with the guitar. Moving into the body, obviously we have reshaped it. Like I said, you've seen the before picture. It's been reshaped, taken down to bare wood, refinished, and I filled it in. It had humbuckers in it. Originally, it just had one humbucker. I routed for a second. Then I filled in those routes to put these mini buckers in. These are Wilkinson mini buckers. I got them from Amazon. They are not the cheapest of the cheap, but they are Wilkinson. So they're not like, super high end, but they are coil splittable, which we'll go into here in a moment. Standard 3-way switch. I hacked a Strat style 5-way lever knob tip and bored that out and put that on there because I needed something black to go with the look of the guitar. And I kind of like the way it turned out. I like the way it looks. Once again, using what I had laying around. I had these witch hat knobs laying around. They had lost their silver inserts long ago. So I took some acrylic paint and I modeled the paint with a toothpick to give it kind of a hammer tone look. And once again, trying to keep it in keeping with the guitar and matching. Output jack on top. It is a little close to the tone control. If I had it to do all over again, I would either have scooted that, even though the control cavity wouldn't allowed for it, or maybe put it on the side or the back or something. But overall, I'm very happy with the way that kind of looks. I don't use my tone control hardly ever. The push-pull, because I do have it coil splittable, I would never use on the bridge pickup anyway. I usually just cut coils on my rhythm pickups. So this knob, for all practical purposes, is not something that I use on a regular basis. So having it a little bit too close to the output jack doesn't really bother me too much. Let me think. Other notes. When you do a project like this, and you've got your final product, and you're looking at it, you have to be honest with yourself. What did not go perfectly right? I'm happy with the way it looks in the front. Now, when we get to the back, the control cavities look fine. The control cavity covers, I mean. But here's the deal. As far as using what's at hand, I only had Bakelite material. I only had enough of that particular material to construct those control cavity covers, and Bakelite does not lend itself well to machine sanding. It has a very low heat point, melting point, so it heats up really quick and then it just starts kind of getting hard to work with. You're sanding it and you're just getting, these kind of like gooey strips everywhere. So shaping it was a pain. Trying to buff it and sand it into, like looking reasonably presentable was also difficult. So in the end, the way that these turned out is not perfect. But with these kind of projects, you do reach points where you're just like, okay, that's good enough. And so really that's my main criticism of how I executed this project was the control plates. But they're on the back of the guitar, they are perfectly serviceable, they cover everything, they are properly sized, and they look reasonably good, so I don't feel too bad about that. The only other regret that I have is that maybe, now that I have it all put together, I should have upgraded my pickup game a little bit. But once again, since this is kind of a hodgepodge project guitar made with things at hand, primarily, I didn't necessarily want to invest $200 in a set of pickups in an instrument that I may ultimately have not been happy with. Going with these pickups, it's my first real experience with mini buckers. I like them pretty well. I'm pretty happy with them. We will go into, here in a minute, I'm going to go ahead and play. And then I will discuss the pickups further. So without further ado, why don't we go ahead. I'm on the rhythm pickup, no coil split. I do have some dirt on, so. So that sounds good. It's got a nice bite to it. For a neck pickup, you go into the... And it sounds good. Now, let's do a coil split on it, and let's see how that sounds. and that gets a nice glassy tone. I'm reasonably happy with that, but my main complaint about these pickups is that when you do engage the coil split, there is a significant drop in volume. And from what I've read, in general, mini buckers just tend to kind of be that way. All right, let's, middle position is middle position. I don't really use middle position, so I'm not going to worry about that. But when we get down into the, and I'm not going to worry about coil splitting this rear pickup either, because I just really like the rhythm sound of this just straight up. I think that sounds great. I love that just for that really crisp rhythm sound. And like I said before, before I started getting into this iteration of this particular guitar, the neck was already in good shape. It was already very playable. I had the bridge and everything positioned perfectly, and all of that remained when I put the guitar back together and did a little bit of setup tweaking. But it was super easy to put together. Because the existing guitar played great, it just looked like garbage. So anyway, I really appreciate coming along on this journey with me with this particular guitar. I don't know exactly what I'm going to name it. Right now I'm calling it Sparkle because I don't have anything like this. This isn't really my bag, this isn't my style necessarily, but it's fun to have something completely different to pick up and play. And now that I have it more ergonomically set up as far as the actual size of the body and everything else, it is a fun player, and I do like the tone of it. So I would say that this project guitar, Disaster, has turned out pretty well. I would call this one a success. I'm calling it a win. And I just thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button. The channel has definitely gained a lot of traction. Still need those subscriptions though, so that we can move forward and do some more fun stuff. I do have lots of ideas for the future, so I appreciate every comment and every like and every subscribe. And if you really enjoyed this, please, share it with others. I would really appreciate it. All right, you take care, and we'll see you next time with more content.